looking into Justin Bieber's chart just for the sake of Diddy. Okay, so his chart is actually fairly watery. He has a Libra moon, an Aquarius Mars. I'm picking out the things that aren't water. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Scorpio ascendant. So basically the things that matter: Sun, Jupiter, ascendant, water. Again, there are certain planets that have more weight than others. And the most important ones in his chart, or the ones that carry the most weight, are water. That Libra moon should save him, though, because again, your moon is your emotions, and if you have air in your emotions, not only do you not feel that deeply, but you are more cerebral and you can kind of think your way out of your feelings. But then again, the Libra is the most incapable of all signs, including air signs. So, again, if I had one word to describe Libra, it's zero. Like, for all the good they do, or all the good they think negatively too. They think their way out of it. For every step forward they take a step back. They'll think about doing something, they'll think their way out of it. Like, it just, you can't do anything physically, mentally, realistically. You just can't do anything for Libra. It's worthless. Anyway, just my experience with them. But yeah, his Libra moon should offer some sort of levity and kind of save him from all that water. I will just say this as like my recommendation to anybody, and another reason why it's so important to know your astrological chart or your kids' astrological chart. Parents out there, if you have a child that has if you have a male child, if you have a boy that has a very water heavy chart, please, I beg of you for their sake, please take extra care of them. They need it. They need it to survive and thrive in their life. I promise you. I mean, especially, take for instance this. So you have two very fiery parents that are constantly like fireworks, just very energetic, just bouncing off the walls, always doing something, running from here to there, always in conversation, loving life, loving all these different things, like fire, fire. I love it. I love it. But it's very fiery, very in your face, very passionate. It's a lot of water. Water is very introverted and emotional and feeling. And if they don't have enough land or air to counterbalance those feelings, oh my God, they just don't know what to do with them and they can drown in them, literally. And for all that can be derived from thinking of astrology as the elements they are, like, what does fire do? What does land do? You can derive a lot of attributes just from the element itself. And the one way in which it doesn't prove true is that in reality, water puts out fire. Water puts out fire. Fire does not trump water. But in this physical reality, in us, in our bodies, somehow fire puts out water. That's the way it comes through in us. Like, if you have very, very fiery signs, people around water dominant people, oh my God, like, it's just so much for them. And then they just like retreat and like curl into their shell, and just, it can be scary. Definitely too much. It's just like you can literally like scare them into their shell, scare them into their room, quiet corner, like whatever they need. It's just, water signs need to be dealt with on a more subdued, careful, thoughtful plane. They don't do well, which is like just in your face, blunt. Just they see it as a tactic more so than just saving time, which I know. I love my fire signs. I am a lot of fire myself. I look at it as saving time, just cutting to the chase, telling you what needs to be said now. But water just sees it as like very attackative. Um, and that can just make them retreat, and then they're less likely to come to you for anything, even if it's just a conversation. If they feel attacked in it, whether you meant to do that or not, they perceived it that way, and they're all about perceiving feelings. They don't think about it. There's not a lot of logic. It's just all feelings. So if you do have a boy that has a water dominant chart, and say you are a lot of fire, it's always easier to do less. Just calm yourself down, talk quieter, talk slower, give them space, let them come to you. Just create a safer environment as opposed to like just fireworks all over the place. I'm just saying that because that's one of the best things I think about our chart, is knowing just how to communicate with family, especially if they're your own kids, because you're not going to just leave them, hopefully. It's most useful in a family environment because they are your family. They're your blood. They're not going anywhere. We can pick and choose our friends. We can work more or less with people we work with. But family, they're there. And they're probably there for a reason. So look at your chart, because that's where the reason is, more likely than not. It's either it's there to teach you something or them something. There's something to be learned in that dynamic. There's a reason why they were drawn to you and you became a part of the same family. So if you want to know, look at the charts. So it's just know that. Like if you have a child that you can't get along with, or you wonder like why they don't talk to me, or why they're so introverted, or just why we're so different, but they're mine. It's in your charts. I promise you the answer is in your chart. Look at it. Like save yourself a lot of unnecessary questions and worries. Just look at the chart. Okay, those are my 2 cents on that topic. Now on this topic, I know nothing about Justin Bieber except he has a really annoying voice. It's very high pitched and annoying. But he was like a child star. So, I mean, any child stars, I assume, were probably put there by their parents. So what I'm saying is that if you have parents that would do that to your kid, basically sell them to the devil. Oh, not to mention that video of Diddy and his like 24, 48 hours with him when he was like a kid. He was like 10 or something. I know everybody's seen that video when they were by the cars and he was talking about taking the Lamborghini for a drive. That video. And Diddy was just like, we can't disclose where we're going or what we're doing. No, you wouldn't want to do that, would you? God. The things that go on in that industry that most people have no idea, but I'm so happy are coming to light, because people need to know what goes on behind the curtain, because then hopefully it won't go on anymore if people are just aware of it, or at very least won't keep supplying them with children, basically. I mean, I don't children. I also mean children as like 19, 20-year-olds versus like 40, 50-year-old powerful men. I consider those people children because they're not adept. They haven't been on life long enough to know what they're getting into or what someone's real motives are yet. But anyway, if he was kind of a child star pushed into this by his parents, stage parents, whatnot, that can lead to a lot of trauma, especially if you have a Scorpio ascendant. Scorpio is the deepest of water signs. They feel the deepest. They're the darkest. They lean the most into like depression, drugs, addiction, because the only way out of those feelings to Scorpio people are drugs and alcohol. They just need to escape those feelings. They can't make sense of them. They don't know how to express them. So it either comes to escaping them. Drugs and alcohol is the easiest, most accessible way to do that. Or it comes out in more destructive manners. Okay, so you either self-destruct or you choose to destroy others. Diddy is also a Scorpio. So it comes down to one of those two. You deal with your emotions and you get a great reward out of it, or you let those emotions destroy you, or if you're more sinister, you destroy others as kind of like some sort of vengeance for how you feel or what somebody did to you. Instead of dealing with it yourself, you just want to do the same to others. That, I would say, is more Diddy. We'll get to that in another video. But I'm just saying, if he had any trauma as a child, he probably stored it with that Scorpio ascendant. Pisces is the airiest of water signs, and the best thing about that is that it could give you some levity. Like, they're just the surface of water, essentially. So they're not as deep as a Scorpio. They're not the bottom of the ocean. It could give some levity to it. Like you have feelings, but maybe you can make sense of them. It's like a little bridge in between water and air. However, the negative thing about that is that the bridge may not always connect. Maybe one of those bridges that lifts up for the boats and then just can't come back down, can't connect. Because, I mean, I know you guys have seen this in Pisces. It's so predominant where a Pisces just kind of seems like lost. Like, just like lost between the air and the water. So maybe they're there, maybe they're here. Like, they're as flighty and airy as air signs, and then they're wishy-washy like water signs. It's just like, where are you going with this? What are you doing? Like, what's happening? So I see that with a lot of Pisces. They're just like, lost. They're trapped between the worlds, trapped between the elements, where they have their feelings, but they can't make sense of them because they don't know whether they're air or water, not to mention the fish going in opposite directions. I'm sure that image is there for a reason. But that Scorpio is what stands out the most to me. Ugh. Ugh. You got some North Node, that Scorpio too. Okay, if you have an ascendant that's Scorpio and a North Node that's Scorpio, that can be a good thing. You're already on your path, but Scorpio has like the longest, hardest path to walk, but the greatest reward at the end of the day. Okay, the greatest reward for having Scorpio or working so hard through that trauma that comes with Scorpio. Scorpios, if you can get through it, if you can make sense of those deep ass emotions, then you can make sense of anyone's emotions. If you can solve the problem that is Scorpio, you can solve anything. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Like, truly, anybody who has any sort of legitimate kind of psychic, intuition, medium abilities, and I mean true, like literally the ones that can do something. Like, they can communicate with spirits, they can connect between the worlds. Like, I'm not saying everybody that claims it, because obviously not, but the ones that truly have the ability, I guarantee you they had Scorpio in their chart. Scorpio is the only one that can do that. So that's the best part. If you can actually work through everything that a Scorpio endures and carries and comes with, then you can basically bridge worlds. You can communicate. You've been through everything. I'm not saying you know everything, because no one's ever going to know everything, but you know enough to communicate with basically anyone on any plane about anything, because you've been through it. And I'm not just saying that like on a physical, realistic realm. I'm saying that like between realms, like literally just based on feelings and intuitions and instincts, all those things that you feel that can't necessarily reason out or think about or even logical or realistic or tangible, but you feel them, just those deep, deep instincts. Those are Scorpio. That is your Scorpio. That's your Scorpio ability. That's the best thing about it. It's just that sixth sense, psychic power, so to speak. I don't mean that as a negative thing, but just that intuition that not a lot of people have. That is the greatest thing, and it can literally guide you through life in the best way possible. That's what I mean by it's the greatest reward, but it comes from the biggest burden, the most amount of work. The greater the risk, the greater reward. It's always proportional. Whereas, like, compare it to Libra, that like literally came here with no karma. It has nothing to do. It doesn't do anything anyway. It's just zero. It doesn't go forward. It doesn't go backwards. It just stays at that zero line. Whereas a Scorpio would be like negative 100, or at least the potential for a negative 100. But if you work your way back up, if you do all that work just to get to that zero line, then it's just like whoosh, you get a reward of positive 100. You get the greatest reward in the zodiac. You have the most like psychic powers and abilities of any sign, potentially. So I would say that that is his lot in life. He's meant to work through his Scorpio ascendant. Essentially, for lack of a better term, the karma that he was born with or sustained in this life, if he can actually work through it, which is Libra moon and that Aquarius Mars, that more so than Libra moon, that Aquarius Mars. The Libra moon should save him from like drowning in his trauma. The Aquarius Mars, which is the way you attack life. Aquarians think very differently. They're the land sign of air signs, which means they can actually take their ideas and their theories and their philosophies that they come up with and put them into action. They can bring them into reality, which the other air signs don't have that ability. It's just theoretical unless they have other things in their chart that bring them into reality. But it's not going to be a Libra or a Gemini on its own. So if he uses that Aquarius Mars, he could work through that trauma and bring it to light and actually do something good with it. Maybe help other people. I don't know why he's not talking. Like, I know why Usher's not talking. It's in his chart. I'll get to that in another video. But I don't know why he just seems like so... Oh, never mind. I know. He seems so like down and depressed and just like, I don't give a shit. Sometimes you can tell a lot about people just by the way they dress. And like, every picture that's taken of him, he looks like he sleeps on the streets of Skid Row. It just... when your whole persona is just like, I don't give a shit, and not in a DiCaprio way, but in a just like I'm depressed kind of way. Not like I'm testing people kind of way, but in a I'm depressed way. So that would mean to me that he's giving in to the downfalls of his Scorpio ascendant, which is just the depths of the ocean, depression, drugs and alcohol being your only way out. This is why it's so important to know your chart, because he has a way out. It's his Mars. It's his Aquarius Mars. And sometimes if we don't use it, you lose it. Like, you have to exercise these traits in your chart that you have. just to keep them alive, let alone to thrive. Like you need to use these things. This is why, but you have to know it first, and this is why knowing your chart is so important. Ah, if he could exercise that Aquarian Mars, that would be his way out. Somebody needs to tell him this. He is his own savior. He just has to realize it. And your chart, it's a shortcut. All the answers are in your chart, I swear. Well, anyway, you know what's shocking is that how many sick weirdos that are in Hollywood have Scorpio in their charts. It doesn't surprise me. It actually makes a lot of sense, but save those videos for another time. I don't want to get off on too many tangents. But it's very interesting to me. I don't see his chart doesn't seem like one that's just a trap or sad or depressed or shocking in any way. It actually seems very clear. Like his chart is like a map of the way out of the state that he's currently in. That's why charts are so interesting. Everybody should know their chart.